Did you know that you can photograph some pretty interesting birds even in the freezing cold of winter? And I know when people talk about photographing wildlife and birds, they're dreaming of photographing elephants, lions, cheetahs, all on safari in Africa. But how do you scratch that itch when you're at home in the dead of winter? But if you go out and actually look in your backyard, or if you're like me, live in New York City and you go to your local park, you'll actually be so amazed at how cool the natural world is so close to home. Now, as we're in Prospect Park today, we're going to be focusing mainly on birds. And there's a few things you can do before you head out to set yourself up for success. First off, you should download these two apps. We have eBird and Merlin ID. These are both free apps and they're amazing for finding birds in your local area. So eBird is basically Google Maps, but for birding. So in your local area, you'll have these pins, and if you click on that, it'll show you what species of birds have been spotted in that area in the last 7 days. Also, it has how common the sightings of that bird is at the specific time of year. So it goes from month to month and how often those birds have been spotted in that particular area. Right now, it is the middle of winter. It's January as we're filming this. So a lot of birds have flown south. But in the last 7 days, just around Prospect Park Lake, not even Prospect Park as a whole, we've had 44 different species sightings. So if I click on this now, we have a brant, Canada goose, but let's get some real big hitters here. Great blue heron, a Cooper's hawk, red-tailed hawk, yellow sapsucker. We've even had an American kestrel. It's so cool to see how many species are in the park. And when you kind of come not to bird, you don't notice any of these. So if you actually stop and look around, you'll be so surprised at what you can find in your local park. Now, one thing to note is that eBird is not a photography app. So if someone has seen a peregrine falcon, for example, it might have been way off into the distance, and if you've got a 300, 600, you're still gonna get a good shot of that. But it's just nice to know what is in the local area so you can kind of keep an eye out for those type of birds that you wanna photograph in the general vicinity of where you are. And when you get to where you wanna photograph things, you should pull up Merlin ID. Now this is essentially Shazam for birds. So you start recording, the phone will pick up a bird call and it will then show you the species that is making that bird call. It's a robin. Oh, it's right there. And this is fantastic for you know what is in your direct vicinity, so you know what to look out for, what colors to look out for, and then you're that much closer to pinpointing the location of a bird. Now, if you're shooting in a public park like Prospect Park, the best time of day to come and photograph birds is usually sunrise or sunset. And I know this can be really tough, especially in the winter when it's pitch black and 20 degrees to come out in the park. But if you get that shot in the perfect lighting condition, it really is worth it. And for the best lighting conditions when you're photographing the bird, you want to place yourself between the sun and the bird that you're photographing. And this is easier said than done, and we don't want to be encroaching on the bird's space. So if it's possible, slowly make your way to a more pleasing position. But how do you actually find a bird in a tree? That's the real tricky part. So let's go find some trees, and more importantly, find some birds. When I'm trying to find a bird in a tree, I'll kind of just pick an area and not really focus on anything. I kind of observe how the branches are. Oh, he's just dropped there. So what I was saying was I try and look for, first of all, hear the sound of a blue jay, and then to try and locate them, because we're not very good at placing things with sound. Try and kind of just observe the forest and to kind of blankly stare at it, not really focus on anything, and just observe how the wind is affecting the branches and the leaves and things like that. And then just look for movement that is going against that, because most of the time a bird might be ruffling their feathers or flapping their wings or something. That is how you know that something is there that is not just a tree. And we just saw a blue jay fly off down here. I'm hoping he's still in a tree down there because it's a better position for us. So we're gonna walk down and try and find that blue jay now. The blue jay's gone, but I've just spotted there's a bit of red and a cardinal is in the tree. So we're gonna try and get down to the bottom of these stairs. We spot the bird, it's pretty clear insight, but trying to find it at 300 millimeters through an EVF is kind of hard and a little disorientating. But if you have a zoom lens, I'd recommend zooming out to the widest lens and picking a noticeable part of the tree to kind of locate first near to the bird. So right now there's like a Y sort of branch to the left of him. Find and locate that branch in your viewfinder and then focus in on that and then just move around until you see the bird. This one's pretty obvious because he's a bright red cardinal in a bunch of dead branches, so it's kind of easy, but right now we have a big branch blocking him, so I'm going to move around, and then not only will this give me a better view, it'll actually put myself between the sun and the bird, so the lighting on the cardinal will be perfect. Oh, please stay there. I'm going to chance it. Hi, bud. Oh, so sick. I've initially snapped the shot just to make sure that I have one of the bird, and let me double check. Yeah, it is in sharp focus. But what I want to do now is see if I can improve on that in any way. Thankfully, because we're high up, we're at eye level, so this is a good kind of plane. I just want to make sure I have the best shot. What I love about cardinals is they have that little tuft on the top, and as it's winter, they're puffing their feathers out a little bit more to create air pockets in between their feathers, so it makes them look a lot more rounder. So I'm going to move to the left and see if I can get that full side profile. Let's see, but I don't want to scare him off. Oh, the branch is blocking him. There it is. Nice. And we can tell it's a male because the females are sort of brown, not as vibrant in terms of their color. So amazing. Settings wise, I am wide open at f2.8. I recommend whatever lens you have, go as wide as you can to separate the background from your subject, especially if we've got a lot of dense branches and trees behind it. Shutter speed, you need to be at least double your focal length. So I'm shooting at 300, but I'm cropping into APS-C mode, so that's 450 millimeters. So I need to be at least 1 over 1,000. And then ISO, don't be afraid to crank it. These modern cameras can absolutely hack it, and the denoising tool in Lightroom is amazing, and it is your friend when you're shooting birds. So we jumped from the tree over there into this kind of thicket over here. This actually kind of works in my favor and brings me perfectly onto my next point, that sometimes you take a picture and the background might not be that nice. Oh, there's a female cardinal there, wow. Sorry, one sec. If there's a way for you to move, or the bird that you're following, say it flies away, always look for a more pleasing, more natural looking background. So right now we're shooting into the forest at Prospect Park. So the background, it looks 100% natural. There's no man-made concrete, anything, structures, anything like that, which is fantastic. So you could get a picture and say, I traveled out to the depths of the wilderness to get this photo, and no one would be none the wiser that we're 6 feet off a concrete path. So always look for different angles to get that more natural background if that's the look that you're going for. But if you want to lean into it and kind of get a building or two in the background to show wildlife in the context that you're in, that's also good too. Remember, there are no rules in photography, only what you think looks good. But if you're shooting in your actual own backyard, first off, I'm super jealous, I wish I had one. But there are a couple of things that you can do to make photographing birds in your backyard a little bit more successful. First thing I would do is get a bird bath. Now you can be really simple or super elaborate with this, just up to how invested you want to be in your bird bath. And this might be more effective in the summer, but I still think some birds will appreciate it in the winter. I've actually seen someone that I follow on YouTube a lot, they've made their own sort of natural pond in the backyard, which is basically a bird bath, but they've put like moss and branches in it just to make it more natural and pleasing for the birds. So then when you are photographing birds that take advantage of that, the photos look like they're taken outside in a park or somewhere like that. So just something to think about if you want to get these nature shots. Dress up your bird bath and make it natural for the birds who are using it. The other thing you can do is set up a hide or a hideout in your backyard so that the birds don't see you when you're photographing them. Now again, you can either go super simple or be super elaborate if you are really, really into it, and you can either put like a tarp up. I recommend like a camouflage or like a green color just so it looks natural and blends in with your surroundings. Or you could go to town and build a wooden hide or something like that if you really want to make yourself at home. Get a little beer fridge in there, a little seat, something like that, so you can sit in there all day. And also just get out in your backyard and photograph as much as you can. You'll find that if you do it more often, you're gonna get more result shots that you're happy with. It really is that simple. Now, these are just a few tips to get you started, but if you have one that's worked particularly well for you, please let us know in the comments what that is. Oh, and also I wanna know what the coolest thing you photographed in your backyard or your local park is. Also drop those down below. But in the meantime, I've been Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.